Hi friends, welcome to our channel. Today we continue our series on how to influence men. In part 1, we discussed a few strategies. Now we'll look at the following examples that will help you better understand and manage male behavior. These methods, based on psychology from life, are easy to apply. Follow us, ready to go deeper? Rule #45. What to do if a man takes advantage of his financial superiority? One of the most reliable and proven ways to manipulate a woman is money. There is a rule of etiquette that says that a man who invites a lady to a restaurant must pay for her order. But this rule has long been a tool of clever manipulators of women's consciousness. In the West, with the development of emancipation, women figured out this male trick, so there everyone pays for himself. In our country, this rule is valid, but with a reservation. A woman allows to pay for herself, but feels obliged to her companion. A feeling of awkwardness and unexpressed gratitude accompanies a woman if she receives an expensive gift, if a man pays for a taxi taken for two, or simply offers a woman to use his discount card. It is this feeling of awkwardness that manipulators use. Of course, a man can give you a gift or pay the bill in a restaurant unselfishly, out of sympathy for you, following the rules of good manners. But most often, such actions hide the desire to force you to fulfill his request. How to resist such manipulation? You should remember that if a man invited you to a restaurant and paid for your order, it does not mean that you have to thank him in any special way other than the usual thank you. Further requests or wishes of the man you can fulfill or not at your discretion. Remember that by paying for your order, the man was just following the rules of etiquette, not doing you an extraordinary favor. In order to feel more confident in such situations, you can practice. For example, accept the invitation of strangers to keep them company in a bar, and after sitting for a while and ordering a glass of wine, say goodbye and leave. In this case, you will do everything right. The main thing is that the company was adequate. Repeat this trick several times. If you still feel awkward and start dancing to the tune of your bow, then use the Western method. Pay for yourself. Rule #46. How to talk to a man who demonstrates his power superiority? Men are stronger than women. This superiority is another way to manipulate women's consciousness. In order to persuade a woman to their side, to convince her of their rightness, men demonstrate their advantage. The mechanism of this manipulation is quite obvious. I am stronger, so it is better not to argue with me. Men demonstrate their superiority to us on a daily basis. Heavy bag? I can carry it. Car stalled? I can give it a push. Is the zip stuck? I can fix it. Usually this is a demonstration without intent, but skillful manipulators try to use this advantage for selfish purposes. For this purpose, they can organize a whole play. For example, they can stage an attack by bullies and defeat them, or steal a purse and return it. Your rescuer, who is strong and brave, automatically has your trust. Manipulators can find ways to demonstrate their superiority in real life as well. For example, having noticed your titanic efforts to drag documents from the archive, the manipulator can offer his services. Or seeing you trying to cross a huge puddle on your toes, he will carry you in his arms. Perhaps his actions are due to a feeling of sympathy towards you, or perhaps he wants to gain your trust, to make you sympathetic. Your actions. Look closely at the man who is flaunting his power in front of you. Try to guess his motives, whether he just wants to impress you or is trying to manipulate you. For the purity of the experiment, you can play the role of a gullible girl who is conquered by his charm and strength. You will calculate the manipulator when he, convinced of your trust, expresses his request or desire. Once you are convinced of his selfish intentions, you can safely refuse him if his proposal does not interest you. Rule number 47. How to communicate with men from the category of your boyfriend? There is a special type of men whom women classify as their own. They are entrusted with the worst secrets, With them, chat about clothes and discuss hobbies. They say, "Your guy." These are men with whom mostly friends, but never have a romance. Be careful when communicating with such men. Perhaps your acquaintance is a skillful manipulator. The universal way to make a person feel at ease with you is to resemble him, to become his copy, to pretend that you share his interests. Gradually, you begin to be perceived as one of their own, and no one expects you to be mean or otherwise deceitful. Remember the hero of Gogol's novel, Chichikov, who had a unique talent for winning hearts. He skillfully manipulated people by copying their behavior and agreeing with their assessments. It is rare to meet a man who enjoys talking about shopping or makeup. If your acquaintance does not belong to the category of sexual minorities, then, most likely, he is trying to gain your trust for further manipulation. You are unlikely to be able to refuse a tiny request from your boyfriend. "Honey, can you help me with this terrible report?" "You know, I'd love to, but I have a lot of work myself." "Sweetie, can you lend me some money until payday?" "I'd like to help you, but I'm broke." After a few failures, your nice friend will probably refuse to communicate with you and choose another object for manipulation. What? Rule number 48. How to resist the manipulation of a perfectly dressed man? Perfect appearance is another way of manipulation. A man dressed tastefully and according to all the rules of modern fashion causes trust, is not it? Isn't it because it is not often that you meet a man who complies with all the rules of impeccable appearance? This method of manipulation is based on women's attention to neat, well-dressed men. A man's impeccable appearance automatically increases a woman's level of trust in him. Women try to judge men by themselves. If he is decently and neatly dressed, then he is worthy of respect. However, you have to agree that in practice, the pattern "neat appearance means decency" does not always work. If a man is dressed according to all the rules and canons, it can speak more about his pedantry. There is a possibility that impeccable appearance is a way to manipulate women's consciousness. Of course, experienced manipulators use the ability to dress well as part of manipulation in general, adding to it gallant behavior, the art of persuasion, and other manipulative techniques. The manipulator who knows how to dress well is already halfway to victory. He hasn't said or done anything yet, but subconsciously you are already beginning to trust him. In dealing with men of impeccable appearance, it is not unreasonable to check. His good taste in clothes is part of self-expression, or the first successful attack to win your trust. Of course, you should not express distrust of all men who have good taste, but you are entitled to a certain amount of skepticism towards them. Be vigilant when dealing with prim and impeccable men. Watch out if this smartly dressed gentleman is trying to take advantage of the impression he has made on you, or if he is just flattered by your attention. Even if in the future this person causes you only sympathy, do not rush to agree to fulfill his request or wish. Keep your refusal ready. It is possible that your sympathy is caused by a whole complex of manipulative techniques, and you are under the influence of false charm and charm of your interlocutor. Bababani, rule number 49. How to resist a manipulator with good manners. A man who knows the rules of good manners conquers immediately. Opened the door in front of you and let you go ahead. Gave his hand at the exit of public transport, or, ahead of you, gallantly opened the door of your own car. Do not be in a hurry to exclaim, "There are still gentlemen in the world." It is possible that your gallant gentleman is using his tactfulness for manipulative purposes. Of course, it is foolish to accuse every gallant man of trying to manipulate you. Such signs of attention, quite normal manifestation of respect of a man to a woman. But if your companion is overly obliging and polite, if he shows signs of attention with obsessive persistence and desire to please you, then most likely his gallantry. Just a way to manipulate you. It is quite obvious what this method of manipulation is based on. Representatives of the fair sex get enormous pleasure from the attention of others. In fact, the rules of etiquette. This is an opportunity to express respect to your interlocutor. But it happens the other way round. Some men use the knowledge of the rules of good manners in order to gain your favor. The second option, unfortunately, is much more common. The manipulator counts on the fact that under the influence of his charms, you will lose vigilance and readily fulfill any request. How can you resist such manipulation? If you are sure that your companion is manipulating you, you can ignore his attention. Enter the building without waiting for the door to be opened. Pretend that you did not notice the hand offered to you. Refuse the offer to help you carry your bag, unless, of course, it is not too heavy. Thus, rejecting the advances of your companion, you disarm him. He loses the opportunity to impress you and take advantage of it. Use such a tactic of confrontation only when you want to know for sure that his gallantry is nothing but a way of manipulation. Otherwise, ignoring your signs of attention will be regarded as a sign of disrespect to the interlocutor. Be careful. Conclusion. Summing up our talk about manipulation, we want to dwell once again on the arguments in defense of this method of management. It is still considered that it is not quite an honest way of achieving one's goals, that it is used only by those people who are not able to achieve their goals with the help of their own mind and talent. But there are times when manipulation is simply necessary because it is the only possible way to achieve a goal. For men, there is nothing more terrible than to be under the heel of his beloved, and therefore, if a woman tries to control him, give advice or demand the fulfillment of her desires, it is usually perceived negatively. That is why women have to resort to manipulation. While we defend manipulation as a way of controlling members of the stronger sex, we do want to caution you against using it too often. Use manipulative techniques when you feel that other methods will not work. Leave the man the right to his own opinion. You do not want to turn a strong personality into a weak, dependent on you man, a zombie man, ready to fulfill all your demands. In addition, always remember that manipulation is not the same as manipulation. There are types of manipulation that do not contain malicious intent and therefore cannot negatively affect the psyche of the person close to you. These are, for example, using your own attractiveness and the method of frequent praise. But there are some ways, the abuse of which can cause harm, such as blackmail, deliberate lies. Such methods should be used only as a last resort, and only if you are sure that their use will not spoil your relationship. Thank you, friends, for being with us. We are excited to share with you strategies to effectively influence men. To strengthen your relationship and achieve harmony in communication, follow our tips and watch how they bring results. Give us a like, share the video with your friends, and be sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss new episodes. And don't forget to watch our next videos. There are more valuable tips and strategies ahead to help you succeed in your relationships.